Welcome back to Q Dads. I'm Ben, and yes, I'm here with another mini review, this time for Netflix film Code 8 Part 2. Now, if I sound a little croaky, probably close to death's door, that's because I am a little bit under the weather. But nonetheless, let's crack on because these reviews aren't going to record themselves. The film follows Connor 5 years after the events of the first film. Connor is a Class 5 electric, basically someone with superpowers, and is tasked this time round with protecting a young girl called Pavani, who is being chased by the police due to her knowledge about their corruption. Now, whereas the first film followed the psychic drug and effects of using and dealing this drug, this film focuses more on the corruption of the police and pretty much glosses over drug use completely. Now, before we get started, first things first, if you haven't seen Code 8 Part 1, go check it out now. I do actually recommend this franchise. It's not all action based and has a bit more depth to it than other sci-fi films. But with that being said, felt that Part 2 lacked the emotional quality that Part 1 did. In Part 1, Connor was protecting a young girl who could heal, and he was emotionally connected to her, not only due to her abuse, but also the need to save his own mom. Yet in Part 2, the young girl is being chased by the police, and although Connor is assisting her, he has no emotional connection, and for me, I think that was very noticeable. Now we're going to talk for a few moments about the film itself. So obviously spoilers ahead if you haven't yet seen Part 2. One of the first things to mention is the incredible visuals of the show. But actually, I am torn with this. I both like and dislike the special effects. And you know what? I'm going to tell you why. The use of the visuals is stunning, and especially with two scenes in particular. The first, when Connor was taking on two guardians towards the start of the film. And the second being when he used the sprinkler system to stun his friends. And of course, I say friends lightly. Now, although these were incredible to watch, I did actually feel cheated slightly in comparison to the first film. Now, he seems to use his powers a lot more, where in this film, there's just a few short scenes that emphasise the use of his power. And that's actually the same for a few other characters as well. Now, with that being said, the visuals throughout were brilliant, so don't let what I've just said put you off, because it was a great film to watch all the way through. And with the integration of the so-called non-lethal canine unit, that added another visual bit of excellence for me. Now, on these dogs for a moment, they were not only great to watch on screen, and that was just due to their realism. Even the sound effects as they walked throughout the city was brilliant. But it added a new layer to an already built universe. Now, this added a lot to the corruption and the strength of the police force, helping to develop that facade to the public, especially as King's personal unit was called Piper.
Let's get a round of applause for Officer Stillman. Good job, buddy. And a round of applause for Piper. Feel free to come up, take a few photos with the kids. I promise you won't bite. All right, everyone enjoy their time, all right?
It was also great to see that these dogs were actually adapted to survive certain powers, which I think is just another way of expanding that already built universe. Now, the new girl to the scene is someone called Pavani, who is a transducer, and this allows her to control technology in some way, transfer its data, and completely overall shut it down, which was actually showcased in a few scenes as well. Now, she was a nice addition to the film and helped the story flow quite easily, in my opinion, but as I previously stated, I just wasn't invested in her character like I was with others. And speaking of, Garrett. Now, for me, Garrett in this film gave me a better understanding of his heroic character, as we got to see a little bit more about his backstory and his upbringing overall. But one of the great things here with this character is that actually it was good to see the roles were reversed by the end of the film, and now he was the one in prison rather than Connor. Now, overall, the film was good, but would I recommend it? That is the question. And to answer that, yes I would. But it's not one of those films that I'd say, go rush now, drop what you're doing, put Netflix on and watch the show. I think actually it probably doesn't matter if you wait a few weeks, even a month or so. with the visual details and the slightly more developed story flowing around corruption rather than drugs. It is worth a watch, and maybe if you haven't seen part 1, then I suggest binging them both in the same evening. Like I said, it was an enjoyable film that focuses more on the stories and the character relationships, rather than just jumping in and out of action every few minutes. It actually gives you time to think. Don't be afraid to go and put the kettle on and make a drink while the film's still playing. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, I did say that this was just a mini review, so let me know in the comments your thoughts on the film and what you most liked. Now I'm off to get some rest and some hot lemon water to get myself back up to normal. So as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like, comment button and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time with something new.